as the country prepares for reopening of businesses, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has issued post-COVID-19 protocols for a Nigerian-based crew operating regional and international flights. The letter highlighted 20 guidelines, including wearing of personal protective equipment, PPEs, by operators and prevention and control measures for the duration of their flights. Contrary to recent practice, the protocol also states that the flight crew will not be quarantined upon arrival in Nigeria from flights, but would be made to undergo mandatory testing for COVID-19 every 14 days at cost to the air operator. Joining me to discuss this is Captain James Onipe, a pilot and entrepreneur. Good afternoon to you, sir. So my first question, have these health protocols from the NCAA, have they been communicated to all airline crew, such as yourself?
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, basically, I think most of the crew flying in the Nigerian airspace are in receipt of this protocol, and they are studying it. Everyone is expected to prepare ahead and see how to make it work.
Okay, and who bears the cost for the PPE, sanitizers, and all the equipment that's going to be used with regards to disinfecting airlines and so on? Is it going to be the airline, or is there going to be some kind of assistance attached to that?
Well, as we speak right now, how that plays out is currently unclear. Who bears the cost, where they get it from, is currently unclear. But I'm sure in the coming days, will be, the whole thing will be coming, to everyone as to whether the airlines are going to be making them available for themselves, or the head ministry will be providing it. But currently, it's quite unclear. We don't know how that's going to play out.
All right, so I wanted to get into one of the protocols here. One of the protocols calls for flight crew to make sure all passengers wear non-medical face masks for the duration of the flight. Has there been any type of testing done, or will there be any testing done to see if passengers can breathe properly and they're not going to be affected, and this will be actually comfortable to wear a non-medical mask for the duration of a flight in a tin can in a plane?
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm sure there are guidelines as to how to put on, face covering. And some people like to call it face covering, actually, rather than a face mask, because that could be sounding medical, But I believe that if you are comfortable with a face covering anywhere else, in your house, walking on the street, in your vehicle, nothing changes inside the airplane. Once you're comfortable putting it on at any point in time, inside the airplane, it's not going to be different. If you're not comfortable putting it on outside the airplane, that means there's going to be issue when you have it on board the aircraft.
Okay, all right. Now, the protocols also call for flight crew to maintain a safe distance between themselves and passengers. How practical is that on a flight where drinks and food will be served, and you've got airline crew walking within the aisles where passengers are seated?
Okay, if you've taken your time to read through that protocols, you'll see where it says that food and drinks will be served in a pre-packed, containers. Now, what this whole protocol is all about is trying to minimize human to human interface, or human to human interaction between the cabin crew, and passengers. Just like we used to have back at the pre-COVID era, where you have passengers pushing, their trolleys down the aisle and all of that. That may not be feasible as we speak. So if any food or drink is going to be served, they are probably going to be in some pre-packed bag, where that such drinks or food is just going to be handed down to the passengers without having to go, walk around the aisle and all that.
Okay, so you from your perspective, you think it's a practical thing that can be executed on the flights?
It's well achievable. It's possible. It can be executed. And don't forget that we are in a time where we are facing things that no one has faced before. Of course, I'm expecting some teething problems, but I know that having done that in a couple of days or so, everyone is going to get used to it.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. So there's some help explaining this here. They said one of the protocols says airline will carry augmented crew to ensure the immediate turnaround of the flight with no crew member disembarking from the flight except the pilots, who will conduct a mandatory walk around, in which case the pilot is also required to wear a non-medical face mask and gloves. So how does that work? None of the crew, the augmented crew, can you explain how that will work essentially?
Okay, an augmented crew basically is another qualified crew who is on board the aeroplane, but who is not participating in conducting that flight at a point in time. But he is qualified to assume any seat of the two pilots flying the aeroplane. Now, what that means is, don't forget that some of these protocols that have been introduced have potentials to kind of increase the turnaround time of an aircraft. Now, on the average, before now, an average turnaround time is usually 30 minutes. You land the airplane, you're expected to disembark the passengers, do all your checks, and board again. On the average, it's usually 30 minutes. And because these new protocols that are being issued out, 30 minutes is not going to be achievable. So an augmented crew on board the flight is able to assume any seat at any time. And the pilots actually, at the end of every flight, are expected to conduct what is called a walk around, where you step out of the airplane, you check the external part of the airplane to see that everything is okay before you conduct another flight.
Okay, fantastic. Now, so essentially that means you'll be carrying two crews with you on the flight, the regular crew for conducting that flight and then the augmented one. So I'm trying to figure out there'll be enough room to carry two crews per flight.
Oh, definitely. Now, don't forget that some flights in the past operate with standby crews. They have another set of crew in the airplane who is expected, to be observing some rest and, for them to be able to take over controls at any point in time. This is achievable actually. But that said, if you read through the protocol, there's a place where it says where it is not possible for you to carry an augmented crew, especially in a situation where a flight is meant to arrive, at a location, and you're not expected to come back that same day. You're expected to lay over. You're expected to go to the hotel, probably stay there, observe your minimum rest period before you carry out another flight. So it is quite achievable. But the protocols actually is not specifically saying that no, this has to be done. There's a provision for exception where this is not achievable, what you can do if it is not achievable.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that. So in your sense, when do you think flights will resume in Nigeria? I know there's been no announcement, so I don't expect you to have a specific answer to this question, but do you have any clues? Has there been any talk as to when they'll resume?
Well, I wouldn't want to speculate, but I know that the waiting will soon be over soon. I know in a couple of weeks, it could be days, it could be weeks, and all of that. But I know that, the numbers of days we have to wait is much less than what, we have, experienced in the past during the total lockdowns. I'm sure any moment, in a matter of days, flights, might start seeing an airplane in the sky. So
all right. Now, has there been any word from government or the regulators or so about financial assistance for the aviation industry? I know there's been, other sectors have been assisted, pharmaceuticals and, manufacturing and so on, but any word at all about financial assistance for the aviation industry?
Well, as things stand, I am not privy to any information on an assistance coming from the government, but actually it is quite expected. In April, I put up an article talking about the need for, government to put up a stimulus funding to keep the airlines afloat and all of that. And there has been conversation, going on and on. People are saying the government is willing to do that and all of that. But I'm not privy to any official communication to airlines that stipulates, the modalities of assistance or any form of assistance that are being prepared for these airlines.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, but you're hopeful, I guess. Is that the best way to put it? That positive that something might.
Absolutely. It is expected, and I mean, if the economy has to keep going, don't forget that this sector, drives the economy. I mean, and what we've experienced right now, a lot of airlines are already waiting, to go down even before the pre-COVID era. Now, the pre-COVID era is just like a final nail that hits the coffin for some of them. Now, so there's no way you're going to keep this industry afloat without having to inject some funds into it. It's just like what the government will do into other key sectors of the economy. So I'm very hopeful and I'm expectant actually.
Fantastic. Okay, I only got about a minute and a half here. Can you tell me how are flight crews like yourself adjusting to the new normal with this pandemic?
Well, like I always say, flight crews are just like every other employees of any organization and all that. I'm not just flight crew. There are other people who work for the industry who have had to stay at home for close to 3 months and all of that. See, it's something that's why it's called a pandemic. Of course, it affects everybody. So people are getting used to it. I'm sure in the end we'll be fine.
I like your positive attitude, so I like it a lot. Captain James Onipe, pilot and entrepreneur, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us about the regulations, post-COVID-19 safety regulations for flight crew from the NCAA. And we'll see how things work out. Thank you so much for your time.